Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today. A man I've seen on the stage many, many times, but never spoken to in person. He's the star of Love Never Dies and, of course, Les Miserables. A delight to talk to Ramin Karimloo. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Alex?
Do you know, not as good as you. When I watch somebody like you on a stage, it is obvious what the X Factor is and the fact that you're born to do it. You do make it look awfully easy, and I hate you for that.
Well, if it looks like that, great, but on the inside, you're dying trying, you know?
It's so brilliant that you've had these big roles, but it's not surprising in a way. When you've got the type of voice you have, you were born to play Jean Valjean and Phantom and these mega roles. I suppose there's no greater compliment, is there, when Andrew Lloyd Webber picks up the phone and says, will you come and do the business?
Well, you know, I'm forever grateful for that. And, you know, at the time, I guess ignorance is bliss because I didn't... It's when I hear it back now, I think, wow, that was kind of a big deal, you know, that was amazing for that to happen. But, you know, your thoughts at the time is like, oh my God, being called up and you think, can I do it? And there's a lot of work to be done. I'm grateful for that.
I was at that 25th anniversary concert at the O2 with you and Alfie, and it was an extraordinary night. I guess there are moments as well that you'll never forget.
No, especially that night. I remember I was just talking about it with a friend the other night about the 25th anniversary of Les Mis, and I remember he goes, you know, he's very complimentary of what I did that night. And I said, funny enough, when I went to do it, I didn't think anything other than just be there as a fan, like everyone else, to celebrate the show. This is not about me. This is not about the person next on stage. It's about all of us and celebrating the show. So I just had a ball. And I learned that night, you know, just have fun doing whatever you're doing, because if you're having fun, you're probably doing your best work.
And then we look at the caliber of people on that stage with you. Does it ever become overwhelming, not only the 18,000 people staring at you, but the fact that you've got these legends of the show? It means you're up there with the best, but you've got to deliver, haven't you?
Absolutely. But, you know, for me to share that stage with the real icon of Les Mis, if we choose one of us actors, is Carl Wilkinson, you know, and to be there, to see him... Especially at that point, that's the first time I seen him. Last time I saw him before that was me waiting at stage door, waiting for his autograph. And then when he saw me, he's like, Ramin, I remember you from all those years. I was like, oh my days. The legend himself standing center stage with me.
And he's got that extraordinary riff in his voice, hasn't he? It's sort of a very peculiar affectation, but it just worked.
Yeah, and that's his, you know, like we've all tried to do it since. But, you know, many times they've tried to... replicate what you can't duplicate, you know.
Let's look at you in your life. Were you born singing? Because it seems to me you can't be trained to have the power and the timbre and the gift that you've got.
You know, I just wanted to be an actor. I didn't think about the singing part of it. I never trained as a singer, and when growing up, I listened to the bands like Tragically Hip and Ray Charles, Tracy Chapman, Johnny Cash. Those sort of voices spoke to me because they had a story to the sound, you know. And then when I saw Phantom with Calm, he was another example. But I remember thinking, I want to be an actor because I want to play the Phantom. It didn't quite dawn on me that the craft of singing and whatnot. I just thought, well, I'll just do that because I want to play the Phantom. And now when I think about it, I try not to overthink anymore. And again, it's just enjoying what we do as an expression, and it feels great, whether it's with a guitar, whether it's in a role. Just love doing it.
It's an extraordinary trajectory as well when we look from Iran to Canada to Broadway to the West End. Are you here for good now, or I guess do you have to go where the work takes you?
No, that's it. I'm February 7th. I moved back more permanently than before to New York to start the Broadway premiere of Anastasia, the musical. I finished Murder Ballad this week, then this tour in January, and then that's it. Like, I'm half packed now for all the stuff I got to take.
And that's not easy when you're taking your family with you. There is a pressure that if it all goes wrong, and let's face it, there are no guarantees in the West End or Broadway. We've seen amazing shows close. I suppose Love Never Dies being one of them. You can never be sure that they're going to be a hit, can you?
No, and the worst part is they don't move with me. They stay here because of, I guess, what you just said. And this time, because when I went last time with Les Mis, I knew it was like a one-and-done thing. We'll see what happens after that. But this time my plan is to kind of like, you know, I've got good management out there. There is a lot of opportunity out there, a lot of shows and interests. So we'll see what happens. But I'm learning to not look too far ahead and enjoy now. Like this show I'm doing now has been unbelievable, and it's already over. This tour is going to be quick, so I want to enjoy the Anastasia and the team I'm about to work with.
Just to backstep a second, I didn't get to see Murder Ballad. I did talk to Kerry Ellis before the show opened, and it sounded like it was going to be an extraordinary show. Has it been a success? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, like as especially as us four. Well, there's six of us in the show, and we're all like a instant family, like never like I experienced before. So it's an experience I'm never going to forget, and I've made some great friends. It's been really just cool to do. I hope we get to resurrect it again at somewhere in the world, because it's a great show and audiences seem to have loved it. You know, it wasn't the easiest sell because it's an adult theme. So when you think of the kind of folks that come to theaters, a lot of families with different generations, well, you got to half that right away, because I know I didn't bring my kids to see this.
Right. It's a curious time, isn't it? I noticed when we look back sort of 80s, 90s, there were the Michael Balls and Elaine Pages. Then it went quiet. There was a dip for a long while. And then there are suddenly these big stars. You, Kerry, John, Alfie. The list goes on. It's never been cooler to be a big star in musical theatre. You are the new rock stars. It's extraordinary.
You know, TV has done a lot for that. A lot of these reality shows, which, you know, it's easy to look at, I think, the negative side of it, how people in the industry can look at it and kind of want to kibosh it. But at the same time, I remember when it first started happening, my view was look, you give one person one role and you shine a spotlight on them, that light's going to flood, and it's going to, you know, it gives a show a whole cast work, crew, creatives, and then people started to enjoy theater, and it went on to come to see other shows. And the film, you know, the movies the musicals made into movies, all that benefited us. And I think, like you said, it put us on a different platform, and more people started to get to know us. So, you know, like you say, it's a good time to be in theater, and I think that's great.
But what's curious about you, when we look at your previous album and this new tour, it's not all musical theatre. Really, that is your love, but it's not your first love. I mean, you mentioned some of the artists earlier that you really grew up loving, and that's what really the broadcast band is about, isn't it? It's bringing this different type of music to the audience that already love you. That, I guess, is important.
Absolutely. And what I love about the whole broadcast thing, it happened through trial and error and organically. You know, when I first started recording as an artist, you know, we thought, okay, we got to be taken seriously, so we can't do theater and whatnot. We go down the original route and trying to write songs, and it just didn't click, and it didn't click inside me. But, you know, we all wanted to try, and we all wanted it to work. My best lesson was getting on the road and touring and trying things out. And then I love the movie Oh Brother Where Art Thou. When I heard that, and musically, I thought, that music, something happens to my spirit when I hear it, and I want to sing like that. I want to sing those songs. So then one night on tour, I applied to a song like Music of the Night or Bring 'Em Home, where I said, let's strip it all back and just do it with guitar, or Bring 'Em Home with fiddle, banjo, and guitar, but not lose the drama of why that song was written. And it was, the audience took to it. They heard one of their favorite songs for the first time again, because it was presented a different way. We really loved playing it. And I thought, I want the music to go this way, and I don't want to go away from music theater, because those are my hits, so to speak. You know, that's where I come from. So let's celebrate that, and then introduce stuff of my sort of musical personality as well along the way.
The other thing about you, let's face it, is you found this huge fan base by the fact you're delicious. I'm a deeply unattractive man. How long do you spend in the gym every day to look like you?
Well, it depends. Like, I enjoy doing it too. It's like a hobby. My friends, it's sort of like my social time as well. Even though it's quite intense when we get there, I don't mess around. But, you know, an hour and a half, depending on what I'm doing. But it all started because of the job. You know, I gained 20 pounds, hopefully most of it muscle, and I started bodybuilding for Valjean. And then I liked it. You know, having abs, I was like, you know, I'll try and keep these for as long as I can now.
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it? When that first poster was released for the Broadway revival of Les Mis, it was a very different Jean Valjean, and I guess you wanted to do that by making it your own, which is so smart.
Well, I didn't want to play it to begin with, because I thought there's only been one Valjean that really spoke to me. Carl Wilkinson's the definitive. What can I add? And what can I do that's not going to just try and be him? And then Cameron, again, I'm forever grateful to him, Cameron McIntosh, basically put it on the offer as, can you do me the favor and play Valjean? And I was like, well, how do you say no to that? That's like a friend asking for something. So I said, okay. So I started reading the novel, and I remember in it, it said the guy was in the prime of his life, supple, and I said, whoa, this guy was fit, you know? He didn't and it was an emotional connection to why he didn't allow himself to get broken. So I thought, let's do that. Let's go down the bodybuilding route, get me as fit as possible, because I wasn't fit at the time. So then, you know, if you walk and feel like Valjean, it's easier to play that part at that point. And then ultimately, it made me find my voice as Valjean, because even when Cameron gave me the part, I was like, I don't even think I can sing it. I don't know if I want to sing it. I don't know how I'm going to sing it. And then it all sort of fell into place when I kind of believed myself.
Is there any bigger physical workout on a stage than playing that role, especially on Broadway, which, let's face it, has got a slightly more intense edge? Yeah,
no, that was... after that finished, I wanted to leave when I still had the energy and love for it. But I said, I need to, let's find some roles that aren't so heavy for a while so I don't burn out. It was such a great experience though, but you know, my life revolved around that because of the bodybuilding aspect as well. And when I was trying to get to the size I wanted, you know, eating 5,000 calories a day, I had to time it and schedule it and still do the show, still do the heavy strength training.
Were you having to do that thing where you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and eat a boiled egg and a bit of chicken?
No, because I loved my sleep, but I did at intermission when we were doing Valjean in Toronto. So at intermission, I'd have 1,000-calorie shake. So when I bring him home, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, you don't want windy pops halfway through that, do you?
No, absolutely not.
That's not what you're looking for. Let's talk about the tour very finally. You're hitting the road in the UK, doing this huge tour in January and the early part of February. It must be exciting for you that you don't need a musical brand above your name. You are the brand. I guess that's the dream for any performer.
Yeah, you know, like I said, it all sort of happened by accident and organically. But when I do these tours, I always wanted to make sure this is purely passion project, it's purely fun, and the audiences that have allowed us to keep playing and have joined us and grown with us, it becomes like a big hang for all of us. And all they're going to get to see is 4 or 5 best friends on stage singing as if we're in our kitchen, jamming for them to songs they love to hear and songs we love to sing and play. And it's every time I start, I think, what am I doing? What am I thinking? Why would I do this? And by the end, I'm like, oh, I wish we had, you know, double the amount of dates because it goes too quick.
You're one of my favourite people and a phenomenally talented man. Ramin Karimloo is on tour in 2017. You can find out more. Put Ramin into Google and it will come up. I've seen you many times, my friend, over many years, and I wish you all the best. You're one of those rare talents that you can't put your finger on why, but you are unstoppable and formidable, and we thank you for your performances. Good luck on Broadway and have a great tour, won't you?
Thank you very much. I'm grateful for you. Thank you.